Looking at the current childhood obesity trends, it's unfortunate to say that America has gotten larger than ever. And if we compare adults versus children, children being the orange line, adults with the red, we see that from 1999 to 2015 and 16, rates have steadily increased. So we've had a 13.9% to 18.5. With adults, the same is true. Between 99 and 2015 and 16, there's been a steady rate as well in the increase of obesity. So the current statistics based on this path predict that childhood obesity rates are constantly and steadily growing. Understanding how obesity affects your children. We've touched on several times now the type of risks that come with having an obese child. Not only are they going to, if your child does not get help and you don't help them through this process, children with obesity are more likely to have obesity as adults. So this can definitely carry on, as mentioned, into their adulthood. Back to the health risk factors, different types of cancers, heart disease, type 2 diabetes are the top three that we continue to see as an overlying theme here. And again, back to how much it costs the U.S. healthcare. As a system, it's an average of $147 billion a year. Looking at the prevalence of childhood obesity between 2 to 4-year-olds, here's a picture of the map. So as you can see, it's color-coded with different colors representing higher rates and some lower rates. So blue being the lowest rates, we can see Alaska, Utah, and Minnesota are in those categories. And if you compare on the other end of the spectrum to the highest rate, which is that orange color between 25 to 29.9%, is Mississippi. And right behind it, between the 20 to 24.9 percentile are states like Louisiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia. So take a moment to find which state you live in and see how your state measures up nationally. It'll be interesting to see how your state compares. Looking at the obesity rates for the age group of 10 to 17, again, we do have a map similar to the one that we had seen previously. And kind of the same trends. We have the same 3 states in the lowest category with the same age group, and same with the higher percentiles between the southern states like Louisiana and Mississippi, as well as Kentucky and Virginia. So these states are definitely of concern compared to the rest of the United States. And if you're living in one of them currently, it's something to consider and reflect on. So now we know some of the basic facts. The question arises now, what can you do? So we'll start by saying have a plan. Begin by knowing the basics for healthy eating. Understanding what you're putting on the plate is extremely important to how you're going to help your child battle this problem. Knowing the portions and the types of food that make a healthy plate is very important. Know that you lead by example. You are the role model. So remember that helping to change these habits definitely begins with you leading the way. So engage in healthy habits that you want your kids to do. Let them reflect and model what they see you doing. Use resources. There are so many to choose from, and I'm here to provide some of those for you. And at the end of the presentation, I will list a few that you can tap into and investigate further on your own when you have some time to see how many free platforms and websites there really are. They'll help guide you through this journey. We know it's not easy, but we're here to help and provide you with all the tools that you can help be as successful as you can in helping your child combat this obesity. Also speaking with a healthcare provider for other helpful tips and advice is something to consider too. And be inventive, try new things, get fun ideas, get the whole family involved. There's so many interesting ways to, help support your child go through this process. Things from grocery shopping to physical activity, encouraging family events, to how you prepare your meal all fall in this category. There's so many ways to liven up all these different facets, and I'll provide some examples of that later as well. So looking at these food group targets, here's a good guide to reference for meal preparation. And this is something that can be found on the CDC website, myplate.gov. The link is also going to be provided on the resource page. But taking some time to even print this out would be very helpful. You can stick it on your refrigerator as a guide to when you're preparing meals, for family meals, for school lunches. This is kind of a good general rule of thumb on how to measure out certain categories of food, such as fruits, vegetables, grains, dairy, and protein. I think this table does a great job of summarizing what constitutes as, for instance, 2 cups of a serving or 2.5 cups. Gives you some ideas of these foods that fall in this category. Also gives you a little idea on why these specific food groups are important. So, there's also some lactose intolerant suggestions too for those who fall in this category underneath the dairy. So, the food group targets, I think, is a very great way to start. And you can also visit supertracker.usda.gov for a more personalized plan, in addition to the CDC myplate.gov website. So please take some time to read this, and I think it's a great way to utilize the information and translate it to home meal preparation. So kind of giving you another overview more specifically, we have a plate here, and it's divided into 4 categories: fruits, vegetables, grains, and protein. And as you see all the arrows coming out of each part of the plate, it shows you roughly what type of serving the food category needs, and an example of what type of food that you can prepare within that serving size. So for instance, we have vegetables here at the lower left. 1 serving can be constituted as 1 cup of cooked or raw vegetables, or vegetable juice, or 2 cups of raw leafy greens. So I think this table does a very great job of depicting and showing you how you can use these foods, and how, again, what serving sizes to use amongst these. So again, those in the lactose intolerant population, we have rice or soy milk that can be used, or any kind of plant fortified milk. But again, the sources here at the lower right, the CDC.gov website has great pictures that you guys can use too, and print out and make handy and easily accessible in your household. So outside of knowing what to put on your child's plate, the goal to losing weight and not gaining more of it within your child also has to do with how much physical activity they're doing, and how these healthy habits are being invoked by you as a parent. So some ideas here. So to get more active and get your family involved, I think things like signing up for, they have a lot of these fun runs now where they have themed runs for, a lot of different seasons and Christmas and different holidays, different 5Ks. There's so many. If you go to your local community calendar or local organization, there's probably a list of many events that are going on, or even school events. Sign up with your child for a school event. Make it a family affair. Show your child how grocery shopping can be fun. So while you're going down the aisle, give them an idea about what healthy food is. Educate them, but make it fun. Allow them to see that there's a fun side to making food. And lastly, you want to engage your child with stuff that you also like to do. So if you're in this picture here, if you're a mom and you love to do yoga, bring your little one with you. Or even if you're at home, have them mimic some of the moves that you're doing. Show them that moving your body is fun. And especially with the younger population, they'll be more inclined to want to model what you're doing. So that sets a really good example down the road. So let's talk about now the financial component, and how making a budget can be useful in helping to tackle childhood obesity. So if we look to the left, we have an arrow pointing up, which basically shows you some things that can be increased while making a budget. So let's say, for instance, you plan your weekly meals. You write down a grocery list, and you are staying on top of what exactly you need for the week. You'll be able to save time and money. Knowing exactly what's going in your cart is going to deter you from buying anything extra that you may not need. So more money saved equals more freedom to save for other important costs down the road, such as your child's education, any sports or extracurriculars that they might be involved in. By also having a set dollar amount, you'll be less likely to buy some of those unhealthy foods and snacks and things that might be more expensive, and you might spend more money on them than you think. So it helps you stay compliant with what's on that list, and sticking to what's on that list helps you save time, money, and really sets the grounds up for developing those healthy habits to stay on track. And while you're doing that, you'll be decreasing certain things. So again, by creating that specific grocery list, less food will be bought that you normally might buy unnecessarily, since you didn't have a plan in the first place of perhaps how to prepare it, which will equal less food waste. So maybe you'll have more leftovers. Maybe you will have less food that you're buying, and therefore less food that you're throwing away if you don't eat it all, which a lot of households are guilty of buying more than they need. By planning your meals and calculating expected amounts, you'll also help develop, again, those healthy habits by decreasing more foods that would be available for snacking or other unhealthier options that weren't on that list. So in turn, you'll be decreasing waste. You'll be decreasing potential for excess snacking as well. So healthy eating on a budget and how creating a grocery plan is crucial to that. So again, just to go back, making that plan before you head to the store is going to help get you organized, save money, and give you healthy options. Using coupons and other free resources and recipe ideas online to come up ideas for the week is a great resource. Making that list and making sure you stick to exactly what's on that list. Be very, very sure of what you're going to purchase. Like again, looking at those flyers to see how much money you can save for the week, and plan those meals accordingly. So here's some tips on how to eat smarter with your kids. These are all brought to you from the USDA. So number one is serve small portions. Show your kids that small amount can go a long way. Sip smarter. Get rid of those sugary, sweetened drinks. Substitute water so when kids are thirsty. Use that checkout lane that does not display the candy, which most grocery stores are very notorious for having those candies at the end of the aisle. So find an aisle that doesn't have a lot of those candy displays. 4 is choose not to offer sweets as rewards. So if your child is misbehaving, learn to discipline them with other things, such as comforting hugs or not using food as an attempt to make them behave better. Make fruit the first choice. So fruit can be prepared in so many different ways. There's fruit kebabs or something fun that you can do and arrange them differently. So make it fun. Food doesn't have to be boring. There's so many ways that you can make them laugh and smile by making a smiley face, for instance, with sliced bananas and raisins. Easy enough. Encourage them to invent new snacks. Find things that they already like to eat, kind of mix it up, see if they can create their own snack. While they're in the grocery aisle, challenge them to compare products like the one that they have the least to most sugar. You'll be educating them in turn. And make sure you make treats, not treats, everyday foods. So treats are okay once in a while, but you don't want to make it a habit of offering them and making it a daily thing. And lastly, if kids don't eat their meal, they don't need anything extra. So keep in mind that any cookies or candy should not replace foods that are not eaten at mealtime. So here's some examples too of how to be that healthy role model for your child. As we mentioned, show by example. If you're eating healthy, they're more inclined to eat healthy. Put more of those raw fruits and vegetables on your plate. Go grocery shopping together. By doing so, you're going to discuss all the different food groups and show them how that can be fun and why they should be healthy. Get creative in that kitchen. So everything that we spoke about, maybe name a food after your child that helps them want to make that food, like Sally's salad or Sally's sweet potato. Here's a list of those resources I mentioned that you can use for free, and they can help you really guide that journey to helping your child with obesity. Here's another example of a fun little game that you can play. All of these can be found at that USDA myplate.gov website, but here's a little MyPlate grocery store bingo that you can use. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you all being here. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. There will also be a self-evaluation form here at the end that I would appreciate you guys filling out. Thank you again so much.